Okay, let it be known, I'm working hard when I ain't on the phone. This ain't a home, this ain't a phone. Grind never stopping, I'm keeping it cold. Unlocking the door with the holy key. You supposed to be this close to me, and hopefully.
Alright, so right now, I'm doing stiff leg deadlifts for hypertrophy training. The difference between trying to stimulate the target muscle and trying to lift as much weight as possible has a lot to do with technique and the way you execute the movement. Now, I could easily load up a ton of weight that I wouldn't be able to control on the eccentric. But the eccentric and the stretch under load is a big part of what causes a lot of muscle growth. So, it makes a lot of sense because this movement can be more injurious to have a lot of control in the stretch. What you'll notice on these sets is I maintain a neutral spine. I overemphasize the arch of my lower back so that if I do get any flexion, my spine goes to neutral. I maintain a big chest, tummy out. I control the eccentric. I tap lightly on the ground and then I explode up. Every rep looks the same. I have tons of control. I'm never touching or handling weights that I cannot control during the eccentric. Essentially, you want to be able to stop the movement at any point if you had to. That means having control over every portion of the movement. If you needed to stop, then you could. If you couldn't, then what happens is you have a ton of momentum being generated, which is actually more force, and that can be applied to joints and connective tissues as opposed to the target muscle. All right, so right here I'm doing an acclimation set. The acclimation set is where you do a rep or two with your working weight or slightly higher than your working weight. What this does is it potentiates your nervous system, your joints and connective tissues, so that the weight doesn't feel as heavy when you go into that set and you feel ready to go.
Until they put me in the dirt. Said I'ma get into it first. Said I'ma get into it. I can't break, that's the thing about me.
All right, it's probably important that I introduce the workout, although I was having a hard time thinking of what to call it because I have a hamstring movement, a quad movement, a bicep movement, but it's just everything kind of thrown together. I'm just using enough movements to maintain my muscle mass, and sometimes I get these funky looking sessions. I'm not trying to potentiate any muscle growth, so it doesn't really matter what gets trained on what day, although I try to pair like legs with legs and arms with arms, etc. So I'm doing 4 to 6 reps, and I'm using about 3 RAR here. And the spider just crawled onto my platform here. Maybe it'll give me some motivation for my set.
Maybe this cold and I'm talking like no degrees. This ain't a fluke. I seen it way before it ever happened. He gave me the view. I had to put in my time on the TV. It coming in soon. I couldn't leave it all up to a variant or an experience. You gotta get up and do what it do. So complicated, homie, it's you. Always gonna wait until you in the mood. I've been running, came out gunning, stopped the fronting on your word. It's what you hear, not what you heard. I'ma hate on every verb. I'ma show you what it's worth. Every day I'm on the earth till they put me in the dirt. I'ma get into it first. Said I'ma get into it first.
Each set kind of potentiates the next set. So, and I haven't done this movement for a while. So also doing a movement over a mesocycle potentiates good technique and potentiates you getting better at a movement. That's why I never suggest rotating out a movement. Usually a good idea to try it out for at least a mesocycle, so you can see if once you get proficient at executing the movement, you've adopted a good neural pattern that maybe it is a little bit better. Or maybe it ends up being something that you're surprisingly good at and feels really good. Something I find with clients a lot is that they say they don't like a movement. A lot of times just because they haven't been successful at executing that movement. And once you teach them how to do it well, sometimes it becomes one of their favorite lifts. I hate lifting. I hate everything. All right, time to do that. 5 reps, let's go. More control.
Get into it first. Said I'ma get into it first. Until they put me in the dirt. Said I'ma get into it first. Said I'ma get into it. I can't break, that's the thing about me. I won't put these goals on freeze. I can't break, that's the thing about me. I won't put these goals on freeze.
All right, doing my warm-up sets here. I'm gonna be pausing all of my quad movements just because my quads get a little finicky towards the end of a mesocycle. Feet about shoulder width apart, toes pointed in a slight V. Knees track in line with the toes, open up the hips as I descend. Nice slow eccentric, big chest, tummy out, moving on a machine.
This ain't a foe, grind never stopping, I'm keeping it cold. Unlocking the door with the holy key. You supposed to be this close to me, and hopefully you understand G.O.D. Maybe this cold and I'm talking like no degrees. This ain't a fluke, I seen it way before it ever happened. He gave me the view, I had to put in my time on the TV, it coming in soon. I couldn't leave it all up to a variant or an experience. You gotta get up and do what it do. So complicated, homie, it's you. Always gonna wait until you in the mood.
Since this is machine-based work, I'm gonna do about 7 to 12 reps here, 3 RIR. This machine is deceiving because it's not hardest in the stretch position, it's hardest in the mid-range. So it's like you'll pop out of the bottom and then you have to fight through a lot of force in the mid-range. Maybe not ideal for optimal hypertrophy, but send slow, tension in the quads.
Break, that's the thing about me. I won't put these goals on freeze. I can't break, that's the thing about me. I won't put these goals on freeze. You cannot stop me, I need this bitch and determination like I'm rocky. Lift the heavy, no spot, please. Body back and beating it, I get away scotch-free. And I'ma take control, unbreakable. I sense the face, the shakes is cold, the grace is more. Plus it's really the motivation, so it's thank you so. Heat that's on my neck, hard work on my brain. The easy road taking a left, it's on my chest. No time for regrets, faith in the dream like Steph. Shooting this way like clay, the body made me this way. I'm taking all of this left to the bank. I'ma deposit and see what it make. Shoot it, so it's reap. I paid a meter, I came in with Peter like Peter on water. I'm stepping in deeper, they know that I'm coming like follow the leader.
That is what 3 RIR looks like. I don't really think of any instance in the last couple years where I've had to do an actual specific mobility routine. I train through a full range of motion, train with good technique all the time, and usually doesn't cause too many issues. And most of these little nagging things, they go away with time. 70% of injuries resolve themselves. So sometimes people employ an intervention and say, oh, that intervention helped. But there's no way to distinguish that intervention having any benefit and that injury just healing on its own because we're not doing it in a controlled setting. So based on the research, probably a good idea to just train full range of motion safely as you can. If you need specific mobility work, then do the specific mobility work similar to the movements that you do already in training. That's it.
Unlocking the door with the holy key. You supposed to be this close to me, and hopefully you understand G.O.D. Maybe this cold and I'm talking like no degrees. This ain't a fluke, I seen it way before it ever happened. He gave me the view, I had to put in my time on the TV, it coming in soon. I couldn't leave it all up to a variant or an experience. You gotta get up and do what it do. So complicated, homie, it's you. Always gonna wait until you in the mood. I've been running, came out gunning, stopped the fronting on your word. It's what you hear, not what you heard. I'ma hang on every verb, I'ma show you what it's worth. Every day I'm on the earth till they put me in the dirt. I'ma get into it first. Said I'ma get into it first until they put me in the dirt. Said I'ma get into it first. Said I'ma get into it. I can't break, that's the thing about me. I won't put these goals on freeze. I can't break, that's the thing about me. I won't put these goals on freeze.
I did 7 last set, so 7 to 6 this set. I think it's more beneficial to stay calm as opposed to get really aroused before a set. I'm not talking the kind of aroused you're thinking of. Just getting like really excited and amped up and lots of adrenaline, because it's also very fatiguing to do that for every set. It may be appropriate towards the end of a mesocycle when you're overreaching, but I think it's better to stay calm so you can execute well. You can accurately gauge your RIR. You can make sure your technique is good throughout the whole movement, across every single rep. So I think it's generally a good practice to be present, to be mindful. I'm trying to enjoy this as much as possible, man. What the fuck are we even to just brutalize ourselves? Or to at least enjoy it a little bit? find purpose in what you do, whatever it may be.
Keeping it cold, unlocking the door with the holy key. You supposed to be this close to me, and hopefully you understand G.O.D. Maybe this cold and I'm talking like no degrees. This ain't a fluke, I seen it way before it ever happened. He gave me the view. I had to put in my time on the TV, it coming in soon. I couldn't leave it all up to a variant or an experience. You gotta get up and do what it do. So complicated, homie, it's you. Always gonna wait until you in the mood. I've been running, came out gunning, stopped the fronting on your word. It's what you hear, not what you heard. I'ma hang on every verb. I'ma show you what it's worth. Every day I'm on the earth till they put me in the dirt. I'ma get into it first. Said I'ma get into it first until they put me in the dirt. Said I'ma get into it first.
People act like I science the fuck out of everything. Maybe I do. But it is also, as a coach, what people pay me for. And I'm trying to build a career as well. And I think it'd be really silly for me to not do everything I possibly could to maximize results. I'm trying to make this my career. People are paying me for the best possible results. Yes, there should be an enjoyment factor. Yes, that should be factored in. But if you've chosen to do this at a higher level, or you've chosen to help other people, then I believe it is partially your responsibility to do the best you possibly can, to be informed, and at least use some of the evidence to inform your training, as well as personal experience. And ranch.
Until my believers get into it first. Said I'ma get into it first until they put me in the dirt. Said I'ma get into it first. Said I'ma get into it. I can't break, that's the thing about me. I won't break these goals on freeze. I can't break, that's the thing about me. I won't put these goals on freeze. Okay, let it be known. I'm working hard when I ain't on the phone. This ain't a home, this ain't a foe. Grind never stopping, I'm keeping it cold. Unlocking the door with the holy key. You supposed to be this close to me, and hopefully you understand G.O.D. Maybe this cold and I'm talking like no degrees. This ain't a fluke, I seen it way before it ever happened. He gave me the view. I had to put in my time on the TV.
All right, it's pretty much the end of this session. Pretty straightforward session. It was still hard. As you can see, my shirt is a different color. I try to be as transparent as I can on my social media. I was doing a mini cut, but I was finding that even dropping my rate of loss lower and lower, I still have a ton of hunger from prep. So I made the decision to allow myself more recovery time, more time in maintenance, just because I feel like it's necessary. It's something that I would advise to my clients, and I think I should follow my own rules as well. I hate to not practice something that I tell other people to do. So I think it's best for my psychology, and it'll allow me to push harder when I get back into massing. I'm essentially just switching the order of phases, because originally I would have done my mini cut first, and instead I'm doing a mini cut after. So it doesn't really matter because I need to take a good amount of time off anyway to allow myself to recover. So I think it might be better to actually do it in this order. So still same training, maintenance training, or I might actually drop the volumes a little bit now that I'm just doing maintenance. As you notice, a little bit wonky structure in the workout. Doesn't really matter. It's maintenance training. It doesn't generally matter anyway, especially if you're hitting your stimulus processes within the session. Making sure you get a good enough pump and disruption in the muscle, which I definitely did with 3 sets of each of those exercises. So that's pretty much it. And all I got to say is RIR training is for pussies. Talk to you guys soon.